Spiders are eight-legged neighbors with a penchant for silk spinning and bug munching. Despite their spooky appearance, they're a staple in ancient mythologies and symbolism. Almost any culture has a spider-inspired story or deity. So, what is the meaning behind these arachnids? That's what we'll cover in today's lecture. So get comfy, grab yourself a cup of tea, and listen in on the mythologies of spiders. So, in my research, I found no shortage of spider gods and stories, so I'll list a few of the ones I found here. Egypt's Neith, a goddess of war and creation who is one of the oldest recorded deities humans have discovered in Egypt. Though she doesn't explicitly take the visage of a spider, her connection to weaving and webs keeps an association. And like with much of Egypt's mythology, there's only so much we have in the surviving record. For a more widely covered individual, Greece's Arachne, a weaver who, similar to many Greek myths on hubris, believed her skills superior to Athena, whose domain contained weaving. The two had a competition to see who was better. While Athena depicted her victory over Poseidon, Arachne's piece depicted several acts of infidelity across the pantheon. While Arachne's heart was flawless and could technically be said to be the winner, her pride angered Athena, who destroyed both her work and loom. Distraught by the well-deserved criticism, she either attempted or succeeded in this is YouTube. Swinging from a rope, we will call it that. Taking pity on her, Athena saved her life and transformed her into a spider so that she could continue to weave. Well, I guess some mortals had much more grim outcomes in terms of pissing off the gods. I guess being a spider beats pushing a boulder up a hill for eternity. But I digress. Sumeria's Utu, whose mythology is a bit too graphic to cover here. That, coupled with the scant information we have, means that I will be leaving this god as homework for you, dear viewer. Africa's Anansi, a trickster spider whose stories are akin to Aesop's fables, in that they would teach a moral lesson. Anansi would use his clever tricks to best far more capable entities, and thus his intelligence was highly admired by those who heard his stories. Of course, there was a reason many of these African stories came to the New World, and I'm sure I don't have to spell it out for you. Ironic, given that Anansi became the African god of stories, he still lives on through them today. Native America's Spider Grandmother, or sometimes called the Spider Woman. There are several spider figures across the myths of the indigenous Americans, but the Spider Grandmother appears to be a widespread one, especially in the Southwest. Seen as the creator who wove existence with thought and web, she was a guide to early animals and people. There are several variations of the story on where she came from, but all depict her as a benevolent motherly figure who plays a key role in many other stories across Native America. Japan's two feature yokai, the Tsuchigumo and Jorogumo. Japanese yokai are a rabbit hole in and of themselves, and can take several shapes and iterations. The two spider-related ones here are known for their appetite for people. The former Tsuchigumo, translating roughly into earth spiders, had a particular craving for children, just like your average European witch hag, or Chris Tyson. The Jorogumo, which translates into, if I'm reading this right and can give some paraphrasing, means Lady of the Night Spider, if you catch my drift. Hers is a more muddled story, and it's unclear if she's similarly man-eating or more of a protective spirit. Probably best to keep your wits about you when it comes to Spider-Women though, even as I know this warning is going to fall on deaf ears. I've linked a couple of cards for some of these stories, which introduced me to many of these deities, and I'd highly recommend checking them out. There are two similar sounding stories in Islamic oral tradition and the alphabet of Sirach, in which our character, either Muhammad or David respectively, hide inside of a cave from malevolent pursuers. God commands a spider to weave a web by the cave's entrance, which leaves the assailants to pass by the cave, believing that their target couldn't be inside, or otherwise the web would be broken. Because of this, both religions saw spiders to be respected. And for one of the last things involving mythology, I'm sure many of you have seen a dreamcatcher, and maybe you had one hanging on your bed growing up. It's no surprise that its web-like pattern is inspired by spiders. They're meant to catch bad dreams or spirits, similar to how a spider's web catches insects. One more thing. One of the oldest works of science fiction, dating back to the 2nd century, A True Story, depicts a war between Earth and giant spiders from the moon. I wasn't sure where else to put this, but I think it's neat. I figure I must mention this, but despite widespread rumor, and Google's AI, telling you that humans swallow spiders in their sleep, this isn't the case. If it makes you feel any better though, almost everyone has tiny spiders living on their skin, the Demodex, or face mites. They're microscopic and live in your hair follicles, so even if you're not eating them, they still have a symbiotic relationship with you. Maybe that won't make you feel better now that I think about it? Oh well. In terms of other myths about spiders, I saw that some believe banana spiders lay their eggs in the tips of bananas, which is why monkeys peel them from the other end. But don't worry, the insides of your bananas are spider-free, though the outside, as covered in my Sailor Superstition video, isn't as much of a guarantee. There's a rumor that daddy longlegs have an extremely potent venom, but that it can't harm humans because their fangs are too short. This is false, as daddy longlegs can technically bite you, but they don't have a deadly venom, at least to humans. This was proven in a Mythbusters episode, if you'd like to see it in action. Lastly, I saw that there was an email hoax about a made-up toilet spider, the Arachneus gluteus, which was attacking people in South America. Of course, there's no such thing as a toilet spider. That scientific name is highly inaccurate and is just kind of an amalgamation of butt spider. But sadly, I can't tell you that you won't find spiders in your toilet. The author personally found a wolf spider in his toilet, which was unpleasant and paranoia-inducing, to say the least. He still has to check under the lid every time he has to go, just to make sure that there isn't another one waiting to grab a bite. Fun times. I've read some sayings related to spiders, though I can't find much on their sources. It's said that if you walk into a spider web, you will meet a friend that day, and hopefully one with a tissue to wipe the silk off. If you step on a spider, it'll bring rain, but if you see it build its web before noon, sunny weather is coming soon. It rhymes, so it must be true. If a spider crawls into your pocket, it'll bring money, and if a bride finds it on her wedding dress, it'll bring happiness. These two, well, I guess are silver linings to seeing the scary critters on your clothes. The funniest one I saw was, kill a spider, bad luck yours will be, until it flies you've swatted 53. Which definitely tracks. They are natural insect control. Across many different articles, I read that the symbolism and appearances of spiders can represent any number of things. We can see their weaving of webs as links to creativity, their venom and trappings as analogues to deceit and trickery, their stillness whilst waiting for prey as examples of persistence and patience, and the intricate patterns of their webs as representations of connection. After all, the archive is reaching you through the World Wide Web, is it not? You're much closer to the myths of a woven world connected by threads than you might realize. After all, the internet is propagated by a series of fiber optic cables strewn across the globe to connect its corners. Whether the web is made of silicon or silk, it really doesn't matter. You're all connected, just the same. Today, spiders maintain their dual nature of protectors and deceivers, from Tolkien's Shelob to Stan Lee's Spider-Man. While they might look scary, especially up close, their bad reputation is, in my opinion, undeserved. Granted, they're not completely harmless, but I'd much rather have a spider in the corner than a dozen flies in the face. So the next time you see a spider, take a moment to appreciate its intricate home. There's a lot to appreciate, as you can see. But what do you think, dear viewers? heard or have any stories about spiders? Let me know down below, and I hope you enjoyed today's lecture. So, quick note, I'm going to be away for a while. Our next video is going to be very different and intensive compared to our usual content, but thanks to an avid viewer, I've uncovered a barely discussed rabbit hole that needs attention. It's something I cannot afford to get wrong, so I'll be buried in references for the next few weeks. This, coupled with the oncoming holidays, means it may be a while until you hear from me. I will try to stream every now and then, if there's an audience for it, but regardless, I will see you all when I see you. Take care.